I knew how much my team needed me. Like I said last game, I mean, it was very tough for me. I didn't sleep. And the competitor in me wanted to win that game so bad. And I replayed that play so many times, but I'm like, why would I let one moment dictate everything else that I have going on that is positive? So just being able to show up again for my team, it would have been negative for me not to come out tonight and just bounce back. And I knew they expected it from me. So just being able to do it, obviously, against Asia, trying to deflect as many passes as I can. I mean, she's going to get her shots up, of course. But just knowing my spots and how great I am defensively to put pressure on them.
Angel Reese was hoping for a moment of redemption after the shot that could have sealed the victory. But Caitlin Clark's reaction transformed the entire conversation into something far bigger than a single missed basket. In one instant, Reese stood beneath the rim with a chance to become the game's hero. Moments later, Clark was caught on camera smiling as that opportunity slipped away. Social media wasted no time reviving one of women's basketball's most talked about rivalries. Yet the story became even more compelling after the final buzzer, when Reese admitted that the missed attempt lingered in her mind long after the game ended, saying it kept her awake throughout the night.
Hey man, Angel Reese back in action as the Atlanta Dream did beat the Las Vegas Aces. Thank you. You just helped Caitlin Clark move up in the standings. Angel Reese has 6 more layups blocked. I mean, come on. It's ridiculous. You look, congratulations. You had another double McDouble. You actually had 20 points this time. I don't know how they let you do that. But Angel Reese had 6 more.
Sports has a unique way of producing perfect irony when nobody sees it coming, and this moment fit that description perfectly. Years earlier, during their college days in Louisiana, Angel Reese often followed Caitlin Clark around the court with a confident grin, waving her hand in front of her face as if to declare that the spotlight belonged entirely to her. Those moments became lasting symbols of a rivalry that captured the attention of basketball fans everywhere.
Really is just comedy at this point. Even in games that aren't absolutely pathetic, we still are able to get a laugh out of them. After one of the most disastrous performances we have ever seen in the WNBA, one of the worst showings in WNBA history, missing wide open layups, missing layup game winners, Angel Reese returned to the court last night against Las Vegas Aces. A game in which Becky...
That famous gesture was playful, provocative, and unforgettable, becoming one of the defining images attached to the rivalry as both players eventually entered the professional ranks. Then came this past week, when television cameras captured a scene that felt strikingly familiar. Only this time, it was Clark smiling. The roles appeared reversed, and Clark seemed to be operating on an entirely different level.
And I know we say that every single video because she's been on an insane stretch. She's been averaging 26 and 9 over the past 11 games. But yo, the way she's added on this mid-range shot to her game, it's like in the blink of an eye, she became a top 3 mid-range shooter in the whole league. Also, her dribble moves are so tight right now. She's flowing and going and dishing the ball to her teammates like no other. I mean, she just has looked exceptional. And Kelsey Mitchell struggled today, but she still had her 20 and a big shot towards the end of this.
Instead of celebrating a game-winning play, Reese found herself answering questions from reporters, explaining that the missed layup haunted her and robbed her team of a chance to win. Basketball has a remarkable way of remembering everything, and sometimes the court delivers its own version of poetic justice.
Athletes know it's not how you start, it's how you finish, and that energy is contagious because if you look at Angel Reese, she already has 7 and 9. She's already getting close to a double-double. But then also, if you think about, on the other side here, you're seeing the Indiana Fever, they're just being a little bit methodical as well because I like these good to great plays. You see Caitlin orchestrating. It's like both sides are leaning into their strengths on this one.
Let's go back to Angel really quickly, though, because she was part of the catalyst that you saw to be able to change things around. And she said to Holly, I just feel like I needed to take a deep breath and maybe stop overthinking.
To understand why this moment exploded into such a major storyline, you have to go back to the weekend leading into that missed shot. ESPN didn't accidentally stumble into this narrative. Reese is unquestionably one of the league's elite rebounders. Her relentless effort is undeniable, and her production on the glass speaks for itself. No serious basketball observer disputes that part of her game. Still, when an entire feature centers almost exclusively on rebounding, an obvious question naturally follows: what about the rest of her offensive game? That answer arrived in dramatic fashion. Indiana traveled to Atlanta for a matchup that had already been promoted as a showcase for Reese. Ryan Ruocco and Rebecca Lobo helped frame her as the central attraction of the weekend. But once the opening tip arrived, the game began telling a much different story. Early in the first quarter, Reese found herself completely alone on a fast break with nothing standing between her and an uncontested layup. Exactly the kind of opportunity professional players convert almost automatically.
I don't know what it is, but this weekend has to be one of the worst weekends ever for Angel Reese, bro. I mean, she became a meme last game. She became a super duper meme this game. And all I got to tell you is, Caitlin Clark truly gets the last laugh, man. Angel Reese missed the damn layup. Now, for all of the Angel Reese fans, I just want y'all to calm down because this is nothing new.
She failed to finish it. The miss was so glaring that it instantly became one of the game's defining highlights for all the wrong reasons. It spread because people couldn't believe what they had just watched. Most viewers assumed that would be the low point of her afternoon. But it wasn't. By halftime, she had made only 3 of her 10 shots while posting 7 points and 9 rebounds, producing a stat line that looked impressive or concerning depending on which numbers you emphasized. During a halftime interview, Holly Rowe asked Reese what needed to improve, and Reese candidly admitted she felt she was playing, in her own words, like doo-doo. It was one of the most refreshingly honest moments of the broadcast. Ironically, that honesty wasn't reflected in the studio coverage. Monica McNutt, Chiny Ugwumaiki, and Andrea Carter continued describing Reese as the emotional heartbeat of the game, praising her intensity, leadership, and influence, while the statistics on screen painted a far less flattering picture. It felt less like objective basketball analysis, and more like watching commentators describe an obvious problem as though nothing was wrong.
More WNBA drama. I'm about to play the video, but Caitlin Clark is facing criticism now because she laughed at Angel and her team because they kept missing their layups to tie up the game. I would laugh too. Look at that. Airballed the 3. Missed the layup. Missed it again. Missed it again. Come on, bro. Who not finna giggle at that? Any normal NBA player would clown the other team if they had 4 chances to win the game and didn't win. One thing about Angel Reese, though, she's finna get them rebounds because Kaushi even got her predicted to win leader of rebounds.
You could argue that the broadcast team simply got caught up in the emotion of the moment. But that explanation becomes difficult to accept when you look at the bigger picture. This wasn't an isolated reaction. It was the continuation of a storyline carefully built over the previous 2 days. Before the game even began, the network had already decided the weekend belonged to Angel Reese, and that narrative seemed to continue regardless of what actually unfolded on the court. When a player openly admits she's struggling, and the analysts still insist on portraying her as the driving force of the contest, it naturally raises questions about what story is really being told. The most significant sequence arrived at the end of regulation. With the score tied and only seconds remaining, Kelsey Mitchell missed a potential go-ahead three-pointer. The rebound bounced almost perfectly into Reese's hands right underneath the basket. There were no defenders forcing a difficult attempt, no awkward angle, and no impossible degree of difficulty. It was exactly the type of putback that wins games and creates unforgettable moments. She missed that opportunity too.
She was not missing because of the Indiana Fever's defense. Fam, she was blocked 3 times. She was blocked 3 times in the first half. What are you talking about? Hey, man, this is ridiculous work. Look, you can just see the double standard, right? If Caitlin Clark was 3 for 10 from the field, and mind you, shooting mid-ranges, right? Shooting mid-ranges, shooting threes, they would have had nothing good to say about Caitlin. They would have had nothing good to say about her, man. Like, stop with this.
It wasn't rushed, heavily contested, or unusually difficult. It was simply a shot that needed to fall and didn't. Atlanta still had another possession to rescue the game, but couldn't capitalize, sending the contest into overtime where Indiana pulled away for a 4-point victory after a tightly contested battle. Reese finished with 15 points, while falling 4 rebounds short of her typical production. But the most glaring statistic was her 3 made baskets on 13 attempts in the paint, the very area where she is expected to dominate. Then the cameras turned toward Caitlin Clark. She appeared to be smiling after the win. And almost immediately, the internet connected that expression with Reese's missed opportunity. Whether Clark was actually reacting to Reese specifically almost became irrelevant. Online discussions rarely wait for confirmation when a compelling narrative already exists. Fans quickly resurfaced old LSU footage showing Reese making her famous hand gesture toward Clark years earlier. The symmetry proved irresistible. Phrases about karma and tables turning spread rapidly across social media, and before long the missed layup and Clark's smile became inseparable parts of one viral story. After years of embracing a rivalry fueled by confidence and confrontation, Reese suddenly found herself on the opposite side of the attention she had once welcomed.
And we start off the game with Angel Reese missing everything from behind the arc, and she does get into a groove as we go on into the game. And by groove, I mean she gets some rebounds. But yeah, we're gonna be real honest about her in this video. Here you see her waiting for the dribble handoff action so she can get it to Alicia, and she drills it. Once again, exceptional performance from her. And not too long after, you see Alicia get it on the other side of the court, drilling this three on that left wing. Like I say, she's gonna hoop today. But we come back the way of Indiana, where Caitlin Clark gets all the way to the cup. Tough.
This is where the discussion becomes more layered than simple ridicule, because there is both a business and branding element beneath everything. Aligning herself with the league's biggest star was, from a visibility standpoint, an incredibly effective strategy. Every television debate, social media discussion, highlight package, and viral thumbnail built around the Clark-Reese rivalry increased Reese's profile in ways that might not have happened otherwise. Being associated with the sport's most recognizable player carries enormous value, and Reese undeniably benefited from that exposure. But attention works both ways. Rebounding and relentless effort remain valuable strengths in her game. Yet when the moment requires finishing easy opportunities near the basket, the contrast between her and Clark becomes impossible to ignore. That contrast fueled much of the online reaction. Not every criticism was fair, and some conversations drifted far beyond basketball into long-running fan rivalries. But many of the basketball critiques were grounded in what actually happened on the floor rather than personal bias.
The Angel Reese glazing is crazy. I'm sure you were tuned in to our favorite reality TV show last night. And by now, you've seen the video of Caitlin Clark laughing at Angel Reese after she missed the game-winning layup against the Fever last night. I'm sure you've also seen this clip of Angel Reese missing a wide-open layup in the first quarter. But what I'm sure you missed was the halftime commentary about Angel Reese's performance in the first half last night. I don't know who her team is paying to get them to gaslight us like this.
A significant portion of the criticism stemmed directly from the game itself. Reese missed the two most important shots of a nationally televised contest, while much of the broadcast continued presenting her as the defining story of the weekend, despite the evidence unfolding in real time. In the days afterward, Reese addressed the disappointment publicly and acknowledged how deeply the missed opportunity affected her. Processing a painful loss is understandable, but many observers argued the broader criticism wasn't really about one missed shot. Instead, it reflected an ongoing pattern of struggles finishing around the basket, and a media narrative that highlighted her rebounding accomplishments while often overlooking the offensive weaknesses that continue to limit her game.
Angel Reese, haunted by last game. Haunted after blowing the game winner. And then follows that up, getting blocked 6 times, and the referees putting her on the foul line if somebody so as much looked. I didn't sleep. Last game, it was very tough for me. I didn't sleep. I replay that play so many times.
Describing the backlash as entirely unfair overlooks one unavoidable reality. The statistics spoke loudly on their own. Nobody needed to invent outrage when the box score already showed 3 makes on 13 attempts in the paint during the game's most critical moments. None of that diminishes Reese's legitimate strengths. She remains among the WNBA's premier rebounders, reaching major rebounding milestones at an extraordinary pace while using relentless physicality and effort to influence every game she plays. The challenge emerges when conversations shift towards scoring efficiency and finishing ability, areas where basketball's biggest stars are ultimately judged. That gap becomes even more noticeable when Reese is constantly compared alongside Caitlin Clark, whose offensive impact forces entire defenses to adjust every possession.
And guess what? Angel Reese couldn't even make a damn layup to win the game. And I'm telling you right now, this is hella funny. Oh my God, this is super funny. This is more funnier than the video of the guy pretending to be Angel Reese. I mean, she literally hit the floor, put her hands over her head. Sorry, guys. Hit the floor, put her hands over her head like, oh my God, I messed up. Yeah, you messed up real bad, Angel. Real bad.
What truly makes this story fascinating isn't simply that a player missed a few shots. Missed opportunities happen across the league every night without becoming national headlines. What turned this into such a massive discussion was the collision of a long-running rivalry, a media landscape eager to amplify that rivalry, regardless of what the game itself revealed, and a player who willingly embraced the spotlight only to discover that once the ball leaves your hands, reputation alone can't determine the outcome. Reese embraced the attention that came with standing beside the biggest name in women's basketball, earning that platform through elite rebounding, relentless competitiveness, and a willingness to lean into confrontation throughout her career. But this latest chapter highlighted something impossible to ignore. An outstanding rebounder with clear strengths in one area of the game, standing next to the one player whose offensive brilliance makes every remaining weakness far more difficult to hide.